This is the Neocratic Manifesto, written by E.S. Woodward, who was the leader of the free economy movement in their main headquarters in Canada and British Columbia. This manifesto tells us what those who believe in the natural economic order stand for and stand against. Free economy, or neocracy, stands for the right of men to live by rendering service. It opposes the special privileges by which men live on the labor of their fellows. It stands for the right of personal initiative, private enterprise, and individual freedom. It opposes communism, fascism, and bureaucracy. It stands for money without usury, capital without interest, land without private tribute, and property without tax penalties. It stands for a social order in harmony with science, religion, and ethics. It claims for workers, individually and collectively, their full share of the product of their toil as determined by natural laws. It denounces the exploitation of workers in all its forms. It proclaims the immediate elimination of involuntary unemployment and the liberation of the forces of production. It denounces the economic system by which men are denied their right to live by service. It stands for democratic institutions and the rights of man to determine the form of society in which they shall live. It denounces the dictatorship of political, financial, and industrial tyrants. It proclaims the equal rights of men without regard to race, color, or creed. It denounces all forms of racial and religious prejudice and animosity. It stands for utmost use of technical and mechanical devices by which to lighten toil and increase industrial output, and for justice to inventors, against the suppression of beneficial inventions and the exploitation of inventors by financial dictators. It stands for the free movement of peoples and the open access to natural opportunity, against Roman land laws leading to land servitude and foreclosures. It stands for unrestricted free trade, made possible to mutual advantage by the principles of freed land and freed money, against tariff barriers and national animosities. It stands for the stabilization of money against changes in the standard of value by inflation and deflation. It stands for the equal rights of women against sex inequality and paternalism. It stands for the simplification of government against bureaucracy and the corporate state. It stands for the right of private property against communism and state socialism. It stands for removing the causes of international discord and the economic causes of war against imperialism and ultranationalism. It stands for an ample supply of cheap credit against money monopoly and constriction of credit. It stands for the nationalization of the right to issue money against money control by usurers. The free economy or Neocratic movement proclaims that the causes of war are economic. Armaments are not the cause of, and disarmament is not the remedy for war. The causes of war are to be found in the monopoly of land and natural resources, and an international exchange system controlled by usurers. The remedy must be the liberation of natural resources for the use of all men without regard to race or creed. The right of peoples to move freely in pursuit of prosperity and contentment, and in the abolition of state-conferred monopolies by which the privileged few grow rich upon the toil of the many. The causes of war are rooted in infringement of human rights. War can be abolished only when human rights are freely recognized. The primary right is the right of a man to himself, the right of access to nature, the right to exclusive ownership of the product of his work, the right to exchange his products with those of his fellows without paying toll to state or parasite. Man does not derive his rights from the state. The state derives its rights from the people. In a world fast losing the liberties won by the blood of our forefathers, Neocracy stands foursquare against political and economic dictatorship. Neocracy stands for the natural economic order, that is, for human relationships which conform to the manifest intent of nature. It holds that the task of man is not to invent cunning schemes by which to evolve order from chaos, but to return to the God-given order, guaranteed by the conformity to natural laws. The first duty of man is cease to do evil and learn to do well. The good-given motors of life are self-interest and selflessness, or hunger and love. Within every man is the urge to self-expression, also the urge to self-forgetfulness. Self-interest is the economic driving force. Selflessness is the gateway to spiritual attainment and satisfaction. Spiritual aspiration seldom arises until material necessities are satisfied. The mother of the useful arts is want. The mother of the fine arts is plenty. We work or fight when hungry. We pray or sing when fed. All men are spurred on by self-interest. Only heroes are motivated by love. The natural economic order must therefore be founded on self-interest, the only impulse of sufficient strength and constancy to overcome difficulty. Each man must reap where he has sown, lest he ceases to sow. The natural economic order awards men according to their deserts. The industrious thrive, the lazy starve. It is the will of God. It is inscribed by the All-Father into the very fabric of the universe. The indictment of capitalism is that it reverses the natural or divine order. It feeds the lazy and starves the industrious. Neocracy therefore proclaims the right of each man to live by work and to enjoy absolute title to the products of his work, the right to private enterprise and free competition, the right to voluntary association and cooperation, the right to lend, bequeath, or to give that which he rightly owns, the right to do what he wills, provided that he infringe not the right of every other man. For God hath willed that men shall be industrious, self-reliant, mutually helpful, and free. Written by E.S. Woodward.